evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for our first virtual freshman parent night. We wish that we could have you here with us in person, but as you know, the pandemic is requiring a lot of innovation, and tonight is no exception. I want to thank you for choosing Magnificat for your daughter's educational high school experience. We're very, very grateful to you for doing that. As we've been preparing for the return to school, we've been praying for our freshman students in a special way and for our freshman parents in a special way. Ending your 8th grade year amidst a global pandemic is one thing, but beginning your freshman year of high school in the midst of a global pandemic is another thing entirely. So we have been thinking a lot and working a lot to ensure that we can provide for your daughters all that they need in our environment so that they're nurtured holistically as they begin these important years and they start to meet each other and that their world opens up so much. Throughout the challenges that the pandemic is presenting, we are committed to remaining grounded in our mission and in our core values as we navigate through these choppy, sometimes and often murky waters. We rely on our mission to keep us centered amidst all of this uncertainty. It is our custom at Magnificat to begin all things in prayer, and so we will do that in a moment. Before we do, I do want to make sure that all of you had a chance to see the email or that you've become aware of the email. Speaking of uncertainties and adapting, we found out this afternoon that some of our most critical protective equipment pieces have been stalled in their delivery. Nothing to be overly alarmed about. We are hopeful that that delay is something that we can resolve rather quickly in the next few days, and we'll keep you updated on that. But just out of an abundance of caution, we want to make sure that when we do welcome the entire student body, that we're completely ready and that our environment is as safe as it can be. Throughout the evening, you'll have a chance to be sending questions. We know that there must be a lot of questions. And as our different, my different colleagues are coming up to present to you, you'll have a chance to be sending us those questions. We'll capture those and be answering those through email. So don't worry too much about that. We'll make sure that we get you all of the answers that you are searching for. And with that, it is my privilege to welcome my colleague of mission, Ms. Katie Higgins, who will lead us in prayer.
Good evening. It is good to be with you in this virtual Zoom meeting at the beginning of this incredible journey at Magnificat for your daughters and for you as parents and guardians. As we begin, I want to share a few words of introduction that I have been sharing with your daughters during their freshman orientation this week. So at Magnificat, we often begin things with prayer, whether it's our daily classes, student assemblies, or gatherings like this. It helps to remind us that God is present here with us. If today marks your first time being a part
muted. No, it's not. Muted.
And so we begin. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Dear and gracious God, please bless these parents and families gathered remotely tonight. May they be confident that the hopes and dreams they have for their daughters will be accomplished. May they become an ever deeper part of the Magnificat community and be enriched by it. May they remember to call on you when challenges arise and to share with you their joys. You are our faithful and accompanying God, who will walk with us in the knowns and the unknowns of this year, and who will lavish us with all the graces needed and give And so we thank you for this moment and ask for your blessings on these families and all their Magnificat days to come. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. I also have the privilege tonight of sharing a little bit about both our theology classes and campus ministry department. So again, if this is your first time in a Catholic school, or whether your daughter is coming from a Catholic school, we welcome you. Each of your daughters will be enrolled in a theology class, and this is an important part of our Catholic identity. Theology is taught as an academic subject at Magnificat. An important part of the theology classroom is to create a classroom culture in which each student is valued and encouraged to respectfully share their experiences, their knowledge, their questions. These class communities are built on our core value of compassion, so that we have a model for both who we are called to be within Magnificat and outside of Magnificat. Theology class material will be presented from a Catholic theological perspective to a diverse group of students. And so we hope that every student will embrace her opportunity to live a faith-filled life while honoring and celebrating what is true and holy in the religious traditions of others. Campus ministry is also an integral part of the Magnificat High School experience, offering programs in service, retreats, liturgy and prayer, and social justice. By supporting students in their holistic growth and engaging them in learning, leading, and serving in the spirit of Mary's Magnificat, campus ministry offers students opportunities to grow in their faith. Your daughters will receive a survey in the opening weeks of school to best determine how campus ministry can support them and their spiritual needs in this coming year. We look forward to walking with your daughters in their faith journey and supporting them as they grow. So it is my pleasure now to introduce Mrs. Julie Rhines, our Dean of Student Life and Formation.
Good evening. So in my role, I'm going to talk about a few different things that your freshman daughters will experience on their first days, but also throughout their entire journey here. It has been a privilege and an honor to meet half of the girls, about almost a third of the girls in the last few days. So thank you for sharing them with us. We are so excited to have them here. Attendance here should be reported to Mrs. Patsy Kelly. We ask that you report your students' absence, whether it's via streaming or not going to be in the building at 7 a.m. Please know that if your daughter decides to stream for an entire week, a month, a semester, you just call us on that day and you let us know, okay, she's not going to be here from Monday the 15th to November 30th. She is not considered absent if she is streaming from home, but she is to be following her classes on that daily routine of how that works. You can also email the attendance@maghs.org. And anytime they miss an assignment, details about that can be found in our student handbook. Our student handbook is something that they'll get on their first day of advisory, as well as can be found under the Plus Portals homepage. As they begin high school, it's a little bit different than grade school. And so as we're asking our girls to learn, lead, and serve, we want them to be their very own advocates. What does that mean? All of them have Magnificat email addresses. So we ask you to encourage them if they have a question, if they don't understand something, to advocate for themselves, to use that email to reach out to a teacher, to someone on the staff, or even to someone one of their friends in the building if they have a question. We know things are virtual, just like this Zoom call, so it would be great if they use that email. They check it twice a day, just to make sure that they've received everything. Our lunch program this year is a little bit different. It will be grab and go, and it is served by AVI, which is an outside food provider. They can buy lunch with cash. However, like most things, we are saying that probably it's best to just charge their student account. Mrs. Patty Schwarber is the director of Student Life. She'll be sending you an email tomorrow on how to upload that. But from what I hear, the easiest way to do it is to give a check to your daughter. Your daughter then will give it to the cashier. The cashier automatically puts it on her student ID. So that way, whenever she gets grab and go, she can just swipe her ID and she's ready to go. Lunchtime is a little bit different, as you may be aware. Freshmen will be in the big gym at 6 feet apart, socially distanced whenever possible. We want to make sure that they are safe while eating lunch, but also that they're able to experience a little bit of Magnificat while they're here. Pick up and drop off in the morning. We are going to ask you to use the back entrance, which is the PAC. So they can come to the east or west doors, and that's where they were dropped off for freshman orientation. Those doors are unlocked. They will be there, and that's where we ask, primarily because the front of the school is where buses and vans will drop off students. Please be careful in the parking lot. Understand that we have some new drivers, we have teenagers, and so give yourself, especially in the beginning, some extra time. There will be some traffic, so the more time, the better. And once they get here, they're able to hang out in the Marion Commons, which leads me to what time our building is open. It will be open at 7 a.m. And when they come in, they'll be directed to the Marion Commons where they're able to do work, play on their phone, whatever it is that they want to do. And then the HM Center will be open at 7:30. So they can go there as well if they need to. We will close the building at 6 p.m. But any student who's staying beyond 4 p.m., so a lot of the practices will begin after school. But if for some reason they're here, they can't get picked up, there's no ride, please don't hesitate or worry. They're able to be here until 6 p.m. We just ask that after 4 p.m., just like in the morning, they stay to the Marion Commons as well. If your daughter was here yesterday or today, she received a pledge in which we are asking all students and parents to sign. And it's a pledge to keep each other safe as well as ourselves. We ask that each morning you take your temperature, your daughter's temperature. We monitor symptoms. And if any of the symptoms on that sheet are occurring or she has a fever over 100, we ask that she stays home. Once that pledge is signed, they can bring it back to school on the first day of advisory. It will be collected there, and we can kind of keep an eye out for that. Last but not least, that word advisory is something probably you're not familiar with. It is a little bit different this year in that it's going to meet every day for 20 minutes. So what happens in those 20 minutes is really community building. It gives your daughter an opportunity to have another adult advocate in the building who is not her teacher, but also this adult advocates for these students while in advisory to learn from each other and get to know each other. It's a great way for the girls to know people, especially when we're all coming from all different places, but also it's an opportunity for them to work together, to ask questions, and to grow together as a small group rather than a large class. Again, another advocate for our students. If you have any questions at all, I'm here to help. I'm here to answer them. And I am just so excited to see your daughters and get this year going. It is my privilege and honor to introduce Ms. Arundel, our Dean of Faculty and Academics.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight in this very unusual freshman parent welcome. So one of the things that we have had to adjust to this year with all things pandemic is our schedule. The schedule that we are using only has 4 class periods per day. And one of the benefits of this schedule will be that if we do find ourselves having to switch from one scenario to another, we will be able to continue to use that schedule. So students will have 4 classes per day, and they may find that on the days when a class doesn't meet, there'll be an activity that the teacher might assign them to do so they don't lose sight of the material for the course. And you will find that for all of our teachers this year, they will be using Google Classroom. And on the Google Classroom pages, there will be a template that will be used by all faculty members with maybe some slight moderations to them so that students are easily able to track their coursework over the course of a week to 2 weeks, which will be posted on those. So hopefully those will be helpful to your students as well as to you if you'd like to see what they're up to. And also that will include the link to the Google Meet or the Zoom, which the teacher will use for his or her streaming. As you know, students do have an option to stream into their classes this year. So this can be used for students who are not comfortable, if you're not comfortable with your daughter coming in person, or if a student does have to quarantine or is just not feeling well, has some symptoms, we want them to stay home in that case. And stream, let us know, and we will make sure that the teachers are aware that your daughter is streaming. And again, just to reiterate, if your daughter is streaming, please let us know by 7 a.m. that day so that we will have time to alert the teachers. And if she's streaming for a week or a month or a semester, you only have to tell us once, just so we know. As far as course supplies go, that will vary between teachers and courses. So your students will find out from their teachers when we do have the Meet the Teacher Day to find out exactly what they need for those courses. There may be some materials like markers, colored pencils that they may need that in other years we might have been able to let them share, but this year we'll ask that they have their own. And the last thing I wanted to mention is that we do have a text alert system that we use called School Messenger, and your information, your phone numbers will be uploaded directly from Plus Portals. And once that happens, we will be sending out a test text to make sure that everybody got it. We'll follow that up with an email so that you'll know that you were supposed to get it and make sure that everyone is in that system. Typically, that is used for any kind of emergency school closing. And so that everyone can get that information very, very quickly. All right, so I have the privilege now to introduce to you your daughter's counselor, Mrs. Jess McCoy, and she will be your daughter's counselor through her freshman and sophomore years.
Hi, my name is Jessica McCoy, and like Mrs. Arundel said, I am going to be your daughter's counselor for both her freshman and her sophomore year. I've already met, I'd say about 2/3 of the girls through freshman orientation, so I'm so excited to begin working with them this year. Just to start off, I'd like to provide some background about the counseling department. We have 5 full-time licensed school counselors. 2 school counselors work with the freshmen and sophomores, and then we have 3 individual college counselors. So when a student comes into Magnificat, they will have the same counselor for their freshman and sophomore year. And then they will transition to one of the individual college counselors for their junior and senior year. The counseling department's modeled after the American School Counseling Association, and we serve students in the following 3 domains. We help support students academically. We meet with them every year to determine appropriate coursework based on their interests and their abilities. And if with tutoring services within our Academic Success Center, and you'll be hearing more about that later in our presentation. We also help students with social or emotional difficulties. We have an open door policy, so we always encourage students to come and speak with us. Like I said, our doors are always open and we provide individual counseling services. If a scope is beyond the realm of school counseling, we do make referrals to the outside community, to other counselors and psychologists, and we work in collaboration with them to make sure that all of our students feel supported. And last but not least, we definitely provide guidance in regards to college and career planning, and this is done in our Compass class. So Compass class meets once every 7-day cycle in a classroom setting for all 4 years, and this is a wonderful thing we have in place here at Magnificat, which is kind of rare when it comes to other high schools. This really allows the counselor to establish rapport with her group of students so that they do feel comfortable coming in to see her or him when they have any issues or concerns. The topics covered in Compass class vary according to grade level. So as you can see here on the screen, the plethora of subjects or topics that are covered will be spoken about in detail all the way from freshman year through senior year. However, freshman year, there's a strong focus on self-advocacy skills so that the girls can have a successful transition to high school. We focus on time management. Often we talk about the girls getting involved in the Magnificat community. So we want girls to participate in extracurriculars. We want them to pursue their interest in sports. However, we always emphasize the fact that their education comes first, and so we work with them on time management skills. We also help set students up for success with organizational strategies, and we help them refine their study skills, which require all new habits, especially when you move to high school. The biggest point we really strive in Compass class freshman year is teaching students how to be proactive when they need help. So, for example, if they're struggling in a class, we always make sure that they know that the teacher is the first point of contact. I was talking to the girls today in freshman orientation, and I say, don't be afraid to raise your hand, because you're raising your hand and your question is going to be what other students have in mind as well. So you're doing everyone a favor. And even if students aren't comfortable, teachers do post office hours on the Plus Portal account and on Google Classroom. And our teachers are wonderful about meeting students one-on-one to really explain concepts and provide that extra assistance. One tool that we do use in Compass class is called Naviance. And Naviance is a wonderful online program that we use all 4 years in Compass class, and it helps with college planning and career exploration. And students will be building their own profile with Naviance throughout their time here. So again, like Compass class, the focus of Naviance varies depending on the grade level. So freshman year, we really help students identify their strengths and interests, and so they can begin exploring those. So an example of what we do is we do a learning style inventory, and this helps students identify their particular learning style, and it provides them with suggestions that really align with that learning style that they can implement in real time within the classroom. In sophomore year, we utilize Naviance assessments to help students with their career and college exploration. And then finally, in the junior and senior year, Naviance is used predominantly with the college research and application process. So within the next coming weeks in Compass class, I'm going to help the students set up their login information so that they will have access to Naviance. And equally as important, you, the parents, will receive an email to set up your own Naviance account, which will give you access to your daughter's information in Naviance as we complete certain inventories and assessments. Moving on, I know that as parents, it's so important for you to stay on top of your daughter's academic performance. So Just to kind of review this chart right here, please be assured that report cards come out at the end of every semester. And these semester grades are recorded on your student's final high school transcript. Progress reports come out, as you can see, midway through every quarter. And they're targeted for students who are struggling in classes, usually within the D or F range. The teachers will be meeting with the students in person to work with them and help them. And then they reach out to the parents and just say, hey, I've met with the student. Here are some suggestions for improvements that your daughter can make. And last but not least, throughout everything, we use an online system called Plus Portals, and it allows teachers to post grades for homework, projects, quizzes, and tests. And parents will have access to the system. Now, I'm sure you've had some form of Plus Portals while your daughter was in grade school or middle school, but it's a little different in high school where it may not be updated every week. Teachers will update it, I would say in general, every few weeks, every couple weeks. But if you have a particular question or concern about an assignment or a test, you can always email the teacher. Our teachers are very accessible. And last but not least, I would like to talk a little bit about the counseling and student support services. Both of our departments work closely together to ensure that students are supported throughout their entire time here at Magnificat. So the counseling department really provides the universal services that you see listed below. And we've reviewed most of these in this presentation so far, and a lot of these, including the time management, the study skills, the curriculum planning, and the college readiness is the focus of our Compass class. Now, if students have interpersonal issues, say if they're struggling at home or if they're struggling with their peer group here at school, or if they have a concern about a classroom issue, they can always talk to us. We have a very open door policy. And if they come in the counseling office and I'm not there because I'm teaching class and it is an issue that needs to be handled right away, all the other counselors are available as well. And now I would like to introduce Mrs. Megan Murkowski. She's our school psychologist and director of student support services. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to us about all the services and supports we have available for your daughter. I want to talk a little bit about what the Student Support Services Department has available. Some of our services are available for all students, and you can see on the slide that the first three, tutoring, study tables, and standardized test prep, are available for all students. So anybody who needs additional support has those options. The other services that we have are provided to more targeted populations. So students who are on accommodation plans receive services through the Student Support Services Department, as well as students who are receiving Study Plus. So I'm going to take a couple minutes and give you an overview about each of these supports. So the Student Support Services Department is comprised of 4 academic tutors, 3 intervention specialists. I'm the school psychologist, and we are all housed in the Academic Success Center. We are conveniently located across from the Marion Commons. And to tell you a little bit about our tutoring services, we're very proud of all the supports we have available to provide. Tutoring can be for absolutely anybody, whether it's a student who is trying to raise their B up to an A, or another student who's just trying to pass a class, we have support available. Tutoring can be scheduled. It can be a drop-in at the last minute. It can be for 1 question, 5 questions, or a student can come in and say, I need help on the last 3 chapters of my class, I'm lost. Whatever it is, we want for you to know that tutoring can be flexible and it can be what your daughter needs for it to be. Study tables are offered by our tutors, and they are a variation on tutoring. All freshmen should check out study tables. These are opportunities for students to drop in to get help for a specific class. So some offerings are offered on a regular basis, such as every week, and then other study tables are offered prior to an assessment. The information will be available on Plus Portals within the next couple of weeks. Parents will get an email and students will get an email. The flyer on your screen is an example of all of the study tables that we were able to offer our students prior to exam week in December. So you can see that there are a lot of opportunities before school, during lunch, and after school. Study Plus. Study Plus is a proactive support for some freshmen. This is based on high school placement test results. It's offered either once or twice every 7-day rotation for 30 minutes. Students get help in math and/or reading. There's an opportunity to exit at the semester, but it's really a great support and it's a great way for students to get connected with tutors. If your daughter is struggling, what we really want for you and for her to know is that the Academic Success Center can provide support. 1 in 3 students have used the tutoring services in the first semester of our last school year. And when we look at just freshmen, that's actually closer to 1 in 2 students. So if your daughter says she doesn't know anybody else who's using the tutoring services, you can assure her that there are many, many students in the building who in fact use them. And then the last thing that I wanted to talk about with you was Magnificat's wellness workshops. I want to invite your daughter to participate in our wellness workshops. We know that everyone experiences stress at some time, and it's not realistic to always try to just avoid stress. It's really critical that we teach our students some healthy coping strategies. So the wellness workshops are designed to teach our students the ways in which to take good care of themselves, mentally and emotionally. It's meant to be a relaxed environment to have some fun and to learn some new strategies. So you can see from the pictures, the girls are doing all different activities. There's coloring, jewelry making, yoga, meditation, etc. Our goal is to provide strategies that students can use on their own. The bottom line is that we care about your daughters, we want them to be successful, and we are here to support them. So please reach out via email if you have any questions or any concerns that I can help you with. And now I would like to introduce you to Mrs. Benny, our Parent Engagement Coordinator.
Good evening. You can't see, but I'm smiling underneath this mask. I'm smiling because Magnificat is not just a student experience, it's a family experience. And I have the pleasure of being in this role to enhance our family and parent experience here at Magnificat. From volunteering to parent events, I coordinate wonderful activities that help you be a part of our community just as much as your daughter will be a part of it. We have wonderful keynote speakers that we're hoping to line up very soon. We have some book discussions that are just for our parents. We also have some fun activities, such as a health and wellness event that we had last year that we're very excited to have again this year. I'll also be providing great talking points to help give you some tools at home to support you and your daughter in times in the evening when that hectic moment of homework comes around. So I'm here basically to support all of you and to provide some great resources and great events to have you be a part of this wonderful experience. I will also be teaching your daughter executive functioning skills, and that will entail additional study skills, note-taking skills, test-taking. Your daughter comes into our school with these skills already, but since the transition from middle school to high school can be a little challenging, this program is here to help support them and to help sharpen those skills just a little bit more. And because I work with all of our families, I will be sending you great talking points with that program in addition to all the other academic updates as well. So anything that you need, I am here for you. I look forward to seeing you when it's safe to be in our building and volunteering, and I look forward to seeing you at our parent events. And now I'm reintroducing Mrs. Maura Clark.
Thanks to all of my colleagues for sharing this information with all of you tonight. We know that this is kind of a different format to be getting this much information. So again, we invite all of you to share your questions with us, and we will be answering those questions to the best of our ability as quickly as possible. In the meantime, if your daughter is in the group that is scheduled to come for freshman orientation tomorrow, that orientation is on, and that begins at 8:30. We look forward to welcoming all the members of the class of 2024 next week, as well as our other students. And in the meantime, We ask that you keep us in your prayers as we continue to work to be able to open schools safely and in a meaningful and joyous way for all of our students in the coming days. And we are especially grateful to you for all that you are doing day in and day out to model for your daughters the behavior that captures the gravity of the pandemic and the situation that we're in, but also the hope and resolve and confidence that we can and will get through this time, that we will return to a time when we don't all have to wear masks and we don't all have to worry about how far apart we are standing. We really look forward to that day, and in a special way to be able to invite you, the parents of the class of 2024, to be with us here to celebrate the beginning of their high school career. So thanks again for tuning in. Send us your questions and concerns, and we look forward to continuing the dialogue with you. Have a great evening, everybody. Thank you.